and welcome back to Unveil Paranormal. Another night of chit-chatting and discussing certain topics within the paranormal. I do apologize if you can hear pitter-patter in the background. My dog is walking around in the room. He's in one of those weird moods tonight. You may have seen my post earlier. I don't know what's going on with him tonight. Thank you all again for tuning in tonight. As always, if you do like this content that we will be talking about tonight, you can go ahead and follow me for more paranormal discussion and content on the 4 platforms you see there. I also do want to reiterate and remind everybody that I am hosting the Unity 5. It's going to be October 21st, 2023 at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It is free to the public, unless you're going to be a vendor. If you're going to be a vendor, go ahead and scan that QR code or visit our Facebook page there, and you will be able to see information in regards to being a vendor. All right, guys, I do have a co-host for tonight, a special co-host. He is just the guest co-host for the night. So without further ado, everybody, welcome back, Brad.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back to the show. You were just on here. Were you on here for the Ouija? You were on screen for the Ouija board. Obviously, you're not in the same room, so you're hanging out in your office tonight?
Yep, I'm at home tonight.
Okay, awesome. No Ouija boards by you, or you got Ouija boards by you?
One right there.
Oh, it's right behind you.
The new one.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm just going to look here real quick. Thank you. So one thing I happened to notice on the stream tonight, I did make a couple updates. I know we had talked about, if you've seen the post earlier, everybody, earlier this week, you'd see we were going to talk just specifically about mental health. After discussing it with my friend Brad here, we're going to actually talk about just general well-being in regards to the paranormal, because there's a lot of things that we can touch base on, right?
Right.
Like, what kind of things would you say are like little topics just in general that are important to the well-being of somebody in the paranormal field?
If you go investigate a lot, you can get burnt out on it, like just completely tired of the paranormal and want to quit. Each individual investigation can cause you to have like what we refer to as a paranormal hangover, like where you're just drained the next day.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Paranormal hangover and paranormal burnout are 2 separate things.
Correct.
So when we talk about like the well-being of the people that are in the paranormal field, we're talking about a variety of different issues that people have, whether it be fatigue and whatnot they get from investigating. So for you, hey Debbie, welcome.
Hey Debbie.
Brad, you talk a lot about getting paranormal burnout, right?
I do.
You are somebody that I will say in this field probably investigates more than anybody I know. You are constantly on an investigation. So if anybody can talk about paranormal burnout, it's going to be you. So go ahead and tell a little bit about what paranormal burnout is, and I'm going to go open this door and kick this dog out.
Okay, no problem. Yeah. So yeah, as she was saying, I go investigate nearly every single weekend. I'm somewhere investigating at an event, helping at events. At times I get overwhelmed and I'm ready just to throw in the towel and quit the paranormal, which is really hard for me because it's pretty much my primary hobby besides collecting toys and getting tattoos. But if I go too often, I do get to the point where I'm just tired and I need to take a break, but I always just kind of work my way through it.
Right. Yeah, I heard you say when I put my headset on, talking about wanting to quit the paranormal. Now, we don't have to quit the paranormal. You and I, we have tons of friends out there that's in this field.
Right.
And we see from time to time people saying, "Oh, I'm just quitting. I'm just not going to have anything to do with it." Guys, you don't have to just quit the paranormal. You get burned out, either whether it be from investigating too much or you just got too much going on elsewhere. You have burnout from other aspects of life.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, I'm just going to give up paranormal. You don't, to me, it's like you're quitting a job. Like, paranormal's more of a hobby thing than it's like not a job, right?
Right.
Most people don't treat it as a job.
Right.
The majority of the friends I have on here are not certified professionals or anything like that. They're just people who love doing paranormal stuff, and so they do it. And so, but we're talking about the opposite of quitting because you're burned out on life. You're talking about quitting because you're burned out on just paranormal.
Right. Because at times I just go way too much.
Right.
Like I think I have like 15 investigations between now and like July 8th or something.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I'm getting up there with you, but
yeah,
I won't do as near as many as you, but I have a little bit busier stuff going on.
Right. I don't have like a family that ties me down, and I have a job that allows me to go as often as I want.
Right.
So
right, absolutely. What would you say for those that are paranormal burned out because they're busy with the, whether they're doing a podcast, they're sharing content, or they're just going constantly? What would you say the best way for them to help them with their paranormal burnout? Like, what kind of things would you do to help with that?
I would take some time off from it. I mean, start reviewing your evidence. If you I'm really bad at reviewing my evidence. So
95% of us are.
So most of the time, I don't even record anything now.
Mm-hmm.
Just so I don't. But if I was recording and I wasn't reviewing it at the time, to get away from going on investigations and being in the atmosphere of all the energy and but still wanting that high of investigating, I would review evidence and see if you go back through old stuff and see if you can clean up old EVPs that you can find even more in.
Right. So kind of instead of going out in the field, just kind of sit home. If you still got that itch for the paranormal, but you just so exhausted, sit at home and just listen to your stuff. Watch your videos, stuff like that is what you would think would be good.
Yep. Or do research on new locations you'd like to visit.
Yeah, like refresh, kind of do a refresher. I like that idea. Those are all really awesome ideas, actually. Because I was trying to think to myself, like, what would I do? I guess if I'm overwhelmed, I would just take a break.
Right.
And those of you that do podcasts, and I know there's many of you that watch this that do podcasts, you all don't take breaks. Like guys, that's going to burn you out one of these days. I take my breaks. I do everything separate in little seasons and all that stuff. It's really important to take those breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do take breaks, I find that I can refresh myself on new content and, so that I can come back with something else, not just the monotony of the week after week. Oh, we're just sitting here chatting, or what, of stuff that doesn't really make sense. So yeah. Okay. I love that very much. So that's definitely awesome. What else? What was the other thing right after that we were talking about?
The paranormal hangover.
Oh yes, let's talk about paranormal hangover, guys. Okay, you tell people what you think a paranormal hangover is, and I'll give my description. I'm sure it's the same.
It pretty much is feeling like you got hit by a Mack truck after you have spent all night in the element, out there trying to feel all the energy, catch evidence. It's the next morning when you're just like exhausted, tired, and you have to sleep it off for like 2 days to get back to normal.
Yeah, so a paranormal hangover is a real thing for those of you that have never been investigating. It is real. And it's called a paranormal hangover because it does have similar symptoms to an actual hangover. Um, I can't really attest on hangovers because I've never really been a big drinker. Maybe you could explain it, but you would say that it's really has really similar
it's very
symptoms,
similar.
right? Right.
Maybe more of the drained energy, not necessarily I'm gonna vomit and feel nauseous all day. That's
Yeah.
not really there. It
God,
depends
I'm
what
glad I
energy
don't
you're
drink
in
that
too.
much.
If you're in like a really active negative energy place,
Mhm.
you may feel that way
Mm-hmm.
because it just depends like how long you were in the energy, where you were. I mean,
Yeah.
how bad it's going to be.
I don't know that I've ever not been exhausted after an investigation. Like, I don't think I've ever just woken up the next day from investigation and been like, oh, I feel so refreshed. I
Well,
don't know that I ever have, but
you're never like refreshed, but there's definitely degrees of how bad it can be.
Yeah. To me, like, well, obviously I'm open to like, mediumship and stuff like that. So I kind of just open up to everything. But like the worst thing I hate about after an investigation is driving home.
Right.
Whether if I stay the night somewhere near the location, it's a little bit better the next day, but I still feel so groggy the next day, even though if I sleep at the location or at a nearby like hotel or something, and I still feel so tired, so exhausted. I mean, also, I am a day shifter, so that could affect, my ability to not feel like crap the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always so tired. And you said like sleep for 2 days. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Like I could just sleep and sleep and sleep. If I ever make plans the day after investigation, I'm pretty useless. So I try not to.
Yeah, if I'm planning something on a Saturday, like I don't ever work weekends at my job. I usually try to take the Friday off before it and the Monday after, just so I can get myself mentally prepared for.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be tired.
Yeah, I usually don't take the day before, but I have never went to work after an investigation the next day. I've just always taken the day because it's exhausting. So, you will. Paranormal hangovers are real things, guys. And really the only way to combat it, it's not like a regular hangover where they say drink coffee or whatever.
Right.
It's not like that. So for a paranormal hangover, what can we do to help with a paranormal hangover?
I would suggest water to get hydrated again, because you got to figure a lot of people drink a bunch of Monsters or a bunch of caffeinated stuff to keep them up for the investigation, and then once they crash from it, they're dehydrated. So I would suggest keeping water handy would help.
Yeah, I agree with that. And maybe not, I know you're tired, but maybe try to stay in your sleep schedule, because otherwise I think that you'll just kind of drag on that hangover. Because again, you can't just drink coffee and fix it,
Right.
So yeah, I think those are, you just kind of in rest, like like if you feel like you need to rest, just rest. So
agreed.
And that's, that's just regular, what's the word I'm looking for?
Self-care.
I can't think of the word care, really. That's just regular self-care, like just water, rest, take care of yourself, like pay attention to your body and what's happening. So yeah, thank you, Sarah. Yes, self-care. So yeah, paranormal burnout, paranormal hangover, real things. One thing that we discussed, you and I, is we wanted to talk a little bit about safety in this video, not just mental health. We were just going to talk about mental health, but I decided against it. Let's go ahead and talk about more than just mental health. So let's talk about safety on an investigation. There's a lot of things that we can do to make sure we all have a safe and positive experience on an investigation.
Right.
What is like one of the number one things that you would say to remember on an investigation? If you're getting ready to go on an investigation, what would you recommend?
One thing that people have always told me is never investigate alone.
Yeah.
I've always wanted it. There's been places I've wanted to book just myself, just be dropped off, left there, come get me the next day. And people are always like, you can't do that. You can't do that. What if something happens? So I've always had people there with me, but I want to do a solo somewhere at some point.
And I think you and I have talked about it where, I think we had that conversation where I said, I just want to sit down in a room by myself in a haunted location with maybe my notebook or something and just read the room or do energy work or whatever, just by myself. But I know that that's always been a rule that I've heard too, is that don't go anywhere by yourself. And so then, like, you and I have discussed, what if I'm in a room and then somebody's in another room or something? I'm just going to do energy work and all that.
Or that you're on camera so we can at least be, like, watching you.
Right. Like, if my eyes roll in the back of my head and I start seizuring or something, something's wrong. Like, oh, I'm possessed or whatever crap goes on, right?
Bring the holy water squirt gun.
Yeah, we should do that. We should put holy water and a squirt gun. Wouldn't that be fun?
I have a squirt bottle for my holy water.
Not a squirt bottle. I'm talking about a squirt gun, like some Nerf guns.
It wouldn't be too hard.
Wouldn't that be something if an exorcist shows up with a Nerf gun? That'd be crazy.
I'll make that suggestion to Father Mike.
There you go. Do it. But yeah. I mean, other little things like even your dress attire and all that stuff. We talked about that.
Yes.
Shoes. You should just tell your story. You can tell your story about why it's important to wear shoes if you want to share that story about why you effed up and didn't wear shoes and how it affected you long term. You don't have to say the location or anything like that. Just,
Okay, so I was at a location I'll say what state it was in. It was in Ohio. It wasn't necessarily the cleanest location. And if any of you know me, I absolutely don't wear real shoes unless I absolutely have to. Well, I was in sandals, and shortly after that investigation, I got a rare bacterial infection in my foot and got a blood blister about the size of an egg that had to be opened.
Gross.
And then they removed all the skin.
Oh my gosh, you don't have to go in that much detail.
Okay. So, yeah. And then I was off work for 7 weeks because my big toe was pretty much gone.
And infected. Highly infected.
Yes.
You didn't have socks on, did you? With your sandals?
Probably not.
Okay. I didn't think so. So, wear flipping shoes, guys. Tennis shoes, not heels. I don't know. I made a comment or a post or something. Oh yeah, because I was talking about women in the field. I'm like, we all don't show up pretty in our high heels. You know what I mean? You tend to see like that's more the TV look of the girls in the field. They're all like these pretty 40-something-year-old girls, probably 30 to 40s, and they're like thin and they got high heels on, and they're all mediums because they're all mediums. Every single one of them. It must be the estrogen. I don't know. But they are all mediums. Okay. So anyways, that's like the TV persona of, the female, whatever. So anyways, that's going to be for another show. me bitching about how, I think we need a better representation in the field.
Right.
But where was I going? Shoes. We were talking about shoes. Wear tennis shoes, guys. Wear your flipping tennis shoes. Something with clothes. You could wear like even steel-toed shoes would actually probably be even safer, so nothing penetrates your feet.
Right.
Or your toes, I guess. And yeah. So shoes. The other thing I was always told is wear your hair up. I don't know if that's a safety thing as much as we don't want to see your flyaways everywhere, but Again, you could get your hair caught in something.
Right.
And
I don't think I could, but some people could.
people with longer hair could get their hair caught in something. Really, I don't. What other Well, I guess one thing is make sure you have a working flashlight and you have extra batteries on you, because if, say you're at Waverly Hills, for instance, and your bag is down on the first floor and you're investigating the fifth floor and your light goes out.
Right.
So carry extra batteries with you. I have a satchel that I always have with me when I'm investigating that has extra stuff. I don't usually carry batteries in it, but I'm not investigating by myself. So usually there's other people with me. So if they have good working flashlight, something, that would be great.
Right.
Because some of these locations don't have lights, right?
Correct.
So if the power goes out on your flashlight, that's good. Oh man, could you imagine being I don't know, fifth floor or something like that at Waverly, and you have no light to get back down to the first floor?
Yeah, that would not be fun. I don't like walking around. I didn't like walking around Waverly with a flashlight, so I couldn't imagine it being in the dark.
Right. That's just an example because it's a huge building.
Right.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy.
Another
thing is first aid kit.
Yes, that is true.
Because there again, I was in another location in Ohio. And
you're the perfect person for the safety
I am
talk. Brad gets hurt all the time.
I do get hurt. My whole team does. My whole team gets hurt a lot. But one time I was coming home from a ghost hunt, and I had a vein burst in my leg. So I needed I needed a tourniquet, and luckily we were right close to a hospital because I had actually lost so much blood they almost thought I needed a blood transfusion. So I always have what I call my blood bag with me, which has ace bandages, gauze, everything I would need in case it happens again.
Yeah, and that's smart. That is something I don't carry. I don't. I actually have Band-Aids in my purse now. I've been a parent for ever, and I never carried bandages or anything till now. So.
But yeah, I always have my bag with me that has my stuff in my leg because it's happened 3 times total. So,
Sarah, I would definitely rock a fanny pack. I would do it.
I usually have a backpack with me, so.
Yeah. I use the satchel, but if I can find a cute little fanny pack, it doesn't have as much space though. A fanny pack doesn't. Jeremy has first aid kits too, so good.
Good.
So if I go with Brad, if I go with Jeremy, then we're good.
Yep.
Awesome. Gosh, I'm trying to think what other safety things you really need that we discussed earlier. Oh, you know what? I have an idea for a safety thing that should probably be discussed. Yeah, if I never go alone anyway, so it don't matter. Jeremy, I usually have somebody with me. Safety when it comes to doing public investigations where there's people there that you don't know. So in this field, we do public investigations. A lot of teams will host them for the just general public that's not into this. I being one of them. I haven't even mentioned, by the way, guys. If you go to my Facebook page, the event information's on there. I have 3 public investigations. So if you want to go investigate with me, Brad will be there. Jeremy will be there. So we'll be there to investigate with you and just have a great time. That's all these publics are about. They're not about me. They're not about anybody but you guys, and you guys having a great time. So definitely, if you're interested in going on a public investigation, go to my Facebook page, look at my events, and you'll see the information there.
And the 3 locations you have booked are really good locations. I like them all. Well, one I've not been to yet, but I've heard good things about. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. They're all in Ohio, on the west end of Ohio, so towards Indiana area.
The northwest side of Ohio. Yep.
Yeah. So Yeah, but investigating with strangers. Now, so with that said, yes, you go to these events and there's like 15, some people have like 15 to 20 people there. It's only going to be 8 at my events. But you're in the dark with these strangers. One thing is you need to remember, you just need to be cautious about what information you give out. Like, I feel like this is just like a in general thing, but people don't really think about it when they're at these investigations. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they don't really think about, okay, we're all leaving at 3:00 in the morning. Like, somebody comes to investigation by themselves, doesn't go with a friend or whatever, and they decide to leave at like 3 in the morning when everybody else is leaving. But then like some creepers like hanging out, like chatting with them, and then next thing you know, something happens. I would feel terrible if something like that happened at my events, because most of these events, we're not screening people. We're not going to screen you. We're not going to do background checks. We're not going to do any of that crap, like nobody has time for that in this field. This field is more of a hobby than it is a professional field. I know a lot of us want it to be a professional field, but it's hard to be taken seriously when we don't have like the evidence to back us up on a lot of things.
Right.
So hopefully one day it will be like professional field, certified, all that stuff. But on the other hand, being in a huge building with some stranger, something could happen. And theft, your equipment, all that stuff. Like, we go into these buildings. This is really for paranormal investigators, people with equipment. You go into these buildings, you leave your equipment everywhere, your cameras, your K2s, your REM pods, everywhere. And you invite strangers on these hunts. You have to make sure you're keeping track of your equipment and making sure people aren't taking stuff from you. Now, I don't know, have you heard anybody who's ever had stuff stolen or had like bad things go wrong? Like, their guests have a bad experience? I've not seen it yet, but
I've not heard a lot. I've heard a few things, but nothing recently, no.
But it's definitely possible.
Oh, yeah.
I would say
I've lost a lot of equipment on my own, even at places.
on your own. Yeah.
Like, at one time, I had lost my SB7, and I ordered a new one, and then I ended up finding it here in my house at a weird location that it shouldn't have been in. So.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's just like little things like that you don't think about. Even if like you're traveling a lot too, you want to think about safety getting there and from. Yes, we book these locations and a lot of them have deposits. And we don't want to give up our deposits, but guys, do not put yourself in danger for an investigation.
Yeah, like
most
the one
locations.
I did at Fairfield.
Yep. Oh yeah, tell about that.
Driving home in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
That freak snowstorm that they had in Ohio. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was horrible. That 3-hour drive ended up taking like 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And then one time I was up at the Roads, which is an hour from my house, and that drive home in the snow took 3 hours.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, plan ahead so that you're not put in a bad situation. Now, a lot of these locations, if you put a deposit down, they will reschedule with you.
Yep.
A lot of them are willing to reschedule with you. They're understanding, and I think that's awesome. Instead of them just being like, oh, too bad, you're screwed. Like, I mean, some of these deposits are like up there, right? Like $400 or $500.
Yep.
Good evening, Mort.
How's it going, Mort?
So yeah, it's crazy. My dog finally stopped barking. Now I'm like being suspicious. What's going on? Why is he stop barking? Although there's a lot out there. I wonder if my son just got. Let's see here. I'm sorry. I'm taking a moment, guys, because I swear I just heard somebody come in my house. Here, you talk about something while I go look. Right. I'll be back.
Another topic we were going to do.
If you hear me start screaming, call 911.
Yep, got it. Another thing we were going to talk about was being aware of your own mental health. Like, if you're going into an investigation and you know you're having a bad day or you have a lot on your mind, I think that could affect how you are on how your investigation can go. You got to be in the right mindset to want to investigate. So, yeah, having anxiety. If you're anxious, you're going to see things. You're going to see shadows. You're going to think you hear stuff. It's going to lead to you having paranoia. So, your own mental health is an important thing to keep in mind when you're going on investigations. So, I know I have struggled with anxiety. I've struggled, and I take meds for it. She's back. So I was talking about the be aware of your own mental health and anxiety.
Oh yeah, we're switching that to that topic. Okay, yeah, we definitely talk about that. By the way, it's just my son. I'm good. I'm safe. He's home early. He was supposed to be at work till later.
Gotcha.
So had to double check that, guys. Safety first.
Right.
That's what we're talking about tonight. So what have you said? So basically, I
said you have to be pretty much in the right mindset to
yes.
actually even enjoy an investigation. If you go into an investigation with something on your mind or something's bothering you, it can draw negative energy to you. You have to try to keep a clear, open mind, or bad things could happen.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things like that we've talked about. Like, there's obviously the topic of vulnerability. If you're not in the right mental mindset, you go into investigation in a bad mood or pissed off or whatever, sad, depressed, whatever. There's the vulnerability conversation. And then on the other end, there's the, well, do you know your own emotions? Are you paying attention to your own, I guess, self-awareness, like Sarah said?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't. That's not a common skill that people are just born with. Usually people learn that behavior from others or therapists or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not aware of your own, if you're not mindful, we all hear about mindfulness. That's talked about a lot now. Mindful about yourself and what's going on in your mind and your life, how you're feeling, all that stuff. You can be vulnerable, but not only that, is it can affect how your investigation goes for the night.
Right. I think if you can either draw stuff in, or you may even be able to repel stuff. If you're in a super negative mindset, I think things would be put off by that. Possible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Spirit feels energy in a different way, but they still feel energy.
Mm-hmm.
So how you're emitting that energy out could affect how the spirit's going to respond to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely something to keep in mind. I see like people who go into investigations would say like just they're mad or they're annoyed with either the other investigators, or there's just this catty crap going on where everybody's just like with each other. We've seen that, right? It just ruins the investigation for everybody around.
It does.
You could come up to me and start gossiping about the people that are on the third floor while we're on the fourth floor. All you want. Sorry about my light. That was me. And it's going to just ruin the investigation. So I could easily miss evidence. We could put off the spirit by our energy, all that stuff. So you definitely need to be mindful of yourself and your own emotions and what you're putting out there. Now, on the other hand, sorry, did you want to say something real quick?
No, go ahead. I have something to say, but you can continue.
On the other hand, we have paranormal investigators who don't believe in mental health awareness. Sorry, I gotta fly away. It's driving me nuts right here. All right, I think we're tame it. Okay, we're good.
Get the scissors.
I know, right? I'm one of these days to shave it off. I swear, tired of messing with it. But we have paranormal investigators who don't believe in mental health. They don't believe in being aware of themselves, because when you're aware of yourself, you're accepting of that's who you are, and that's, why you're reacting the way you are, or why you feel the way you feel, all that stuff. And so when you put people in these situations that are supposed to be dangerous, sometimes dangerous, or that are, questionable situations, all that stuff, you just don't really know how some people are going to act,
right?
Because they won't get like the additional help that other people have. One topic you and I discussed thoroughly in regards to that is people with paranoia disorders. And maybe not a disorder, but they have some type of condition like anxiety or something that gives them more paranoia than other people would normally have. It's kind of like drugs. You take a drug, some drugs make you more paranoid. Well, some people have mental health issues that make them more paranoid. You take those people that have a lot of paranoia and put them in a alleged haunted location, and those people are constantly having issues, constantly looking behind themselves, constantly in a state of fear. And when we're in a state of fear, our mind is not clear. And if your mind is not clear, that shadow you just seen, and you're the only one who's seen it, we can't confirm or deny, because one, you don't have a second person seeing it. Two, you probably don't have a camera because you're too busy. You're probably too busy freaking out. But I see that a lot with some investigators. I see people who are just constantly paranoid, and so they're constantly seeing things, and they're constantly, like not able to investigate with a clear mind. And you and I have discussed this thoroughly. I feel like they'll say that it's people who say, well, I'm a medium, I'm a sensitive, right? And I personally have a true belief on sensitivity and mediums and stuff like that. Obviously, I express myself. I do believe everybody's intuitive, because that's a human thing to be intuitive. But the people that are constantly seeing things and having these experiences, and it appears to be out of a state of fear, and it's consistent like that, I'm going to be, as somebody who's witnessing that on a regular basis, I'm going to be more inclined to say, okay, look, you are constantly paranoid. You are constantly having issues, and having these experiences that nobody else around you is. Do you know whether or not you have anything mental-wise going on? Like high anxieties can cause paranoia. Obviously, our psychotic type mental health, like, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, can cause a lot of paranoia. Like those type of different type of disorders can cause high paranoia. And if you're not being treated, how do we know that what you're experiencing is accurate, is legit, is your paranoia, or is it paranormal? They kind of go like, they're like, ugh, I gotta say it slow.
Yeah, those words have a lot of the same letters.
Yeah. I don't know. So, I mean, what do you say to that?
I agree. I think if you have one of those disorders, I think you're going to experience more, but I think it's going to be in your head and not necessarily you're in that location to look for that stuff. So I think your mind's going to project it so that you you see it, you have interactions with it, then it may not actually truly be there.
Right.
It's almost kind of like having ADHD. Like, if you're in a location, you're just like bouncing off the walls.
Right. Yeah, your attention's gonna keep wandering, and you can't really focus on what's going on. And we're not saying like people with mental health issues can't investigate. We're just saying if it's not treated and you don't have control of it, could it affect your experience as a paranormal investigator? It could also affect other people that are investigating with you, their experience with you investigating. You know, it's not saying you can't investigate. Now, people with high anxiety, I highly recommend they have that under control before investigating, because this is a highly fear-based hobby. Kind of most people I talk to love it for the adrenaline rush.
Yep.
They love it for that excitement of just being scared and unknown, and so they get really excited. So people who have anxiety, I mean, it's really not. And it's funny I say this because I have anxiety.
Yep, so do I.
And I investigate, but obviously I take care of myself, and I have that under control. But for those people that don't have that control, I mean, who's to say how well your experience is going to be in others around you? And that's
it can. I think being in that energy for too long can really mess up your mental health.
Being in the like the paranormal,
just being
energy.
In the paranormal in general. If you're one of those people who want to find the dark stuff, want to deal with the darker side of the paranormal, I think that's going to lead you down that road too.
Yeah. I find curiosity is a trait in a lot of us that are in the field. I mean, it really is like the main trait. And so when we're curious, we also want to run towards the danger, because we think we're cats with 9 lives, apparently, and we don't have them. But I guess on a safety note, also, don't run towards the danger.
Nope.
Casually walk there, but no, seriously, like, don't put yourself in a situation that you want to turn ugly. Like, I get it. We all want to be able to capture the scary moments, right? We capture the scary moments. We share our content. Bam, we got us a TV deal, right? Is that a lot of people's goals nowadays?
I've actually turned TV deals down.
Well, look at you.
That was years ago, but yeah.
Oh, listen to Brad. He's like a celeb up in here.
No, I'm not. I don't want to be a celeb at all.
And he's talking to little old me. I am far from that. The most viewed video I have is like 20-some. So on YouTube, unless you count the Google TV video, that does not count.
Yeah. I don't even put stuff out. I just get contacted by owners who know that I've caught good stuff at their locations, and then they just send my name to production companies. And this was years ago. They contacted me and they were like, do you think you have anything about demons, or do you know anything about demons? I'm like, I'm not gonna do a TV show about demons. I'm not.
Is that what they mainly ask you? Like,
that is truly what they asked me.
Is it demons?
Yes. That is truly what they asked me. And it was right after I was at a house that it was a private house that had been on a TV show.
Oh, okay.
And then they contacted me and like, what did you catch at this house? I'm like, nothing that they said they caught on the TV show did I catch. I caught really good stuff.
Yeah.
But nothing that they said was on the TV show did I catch.
Yeah. I've talked to several people who's been on shows, because a lot of people have. A lot of people have been there just to share their stories or whatever. You and I know a mutual person who actually, he had wrote a book. I'm not going to say his name on here, but he had wrote a book about his experience at his house, but he was also on one of the shows. So I actually read the book, and I don't read a lot, but I actually read this book because it was pretty much an easy read compared to like other stuff. Like, it was a chapter book, but I don't have the attention span to sit and read a long time. That's why my blog hasn't gone out yet, because I don't have the attention span to stay on one story. I don't have ADD, guys.
That's questionable.
I do not have ADD. Maybe I should sit and watch my videos and see like how many times I change topics. But what was I saying?
That you read a book?
Oh yeah. So I read this book. I remember now. I read this book, and you and I know this person. And he was one of the first people I ever met that's actually been on a TV show. And he said that the aspect of the show talked mainly about this guy that was haunting, this old man that was haunting the location, right? And he said that during his time living in this house, he saw that guy one time. That's it. Everything else was going on, all this other paranormal stuff. But when the show was taking a story and creating their documentary, they shared the story about this one guy that he's seen one time and made this one ghost a huge part of the story. Mm-hmm. Just expanded it out. Which wasn't true, but they put it in the show. They put it in the docu-series. I don't know what they're called. Is it really a documentary? I like documentaries that are more realistic.
Right.
But so they basically took one aspect of this situation, this haunted location, and made it a big thing, which we see all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get fixated on one ghost. So, and because they want to give them a story, because they want people to be like relatable to it. You know, if they talk about, oh, well, one night they saw a shadow figure, one night they saw a little girl, one night they saw an old man. You know, I don't know if that'll capture the attention of audience as much. Mm-hmm. So
that sounds like my house.
Right. But if you were to go to a TV producer, producer's going to say, let's make this girl, this one little girl, the biggest part of the show. Even if you've only seen her one time.
I have only seen her once.
See? I knew something I didn't know, but I apparently knew. So, yes, definitely know your own mental health, your own awareness. Be aware of your reactions, your energies that you're putting out, all that stuff. That is definitely something that I think people need to work on. The last thing we wrote about was being aware of your own biases. That's really going to be for my future show in regards to I'm going to do a residential etiquette show.
Agreed.
I am going to toot my own horn, and Brad knows this because he knows me really well. There are some things in life that I just think I do better. And residentials are one of them. And it's not the residential itself. It's just interacting with the client. I do feel really bad about the most recent residential that I couldn't do. I feel so guilty about it, but it's too far, and it's hard to get a team together. But we are definitely going to talk about that. But yes, definitely still be aware of your biases. I mean, that's still like investigator to investigator. I mean, obviously, if you go to Paracons constantly, if you're watching people on Facebook constantly, you're interacting with all these people. I mean, you could ruin somebody's night just because you're you're investigating with somebody you don't like. You know, I avoid investigating with people I don't like.
Right.
I do. And it's nothing personal against them. It could be something as a matter of just different investigation techniques.
Yep.
It might not even be like I don't like them, but I just don't like how they investigate.
Yep. I know there's people in this field that don't like how I investigate and how I am just as a person even.
Yeah, so. Brad is such a I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know. I agree. There's people I know that do not like to investigate with me. I'm sure because of the way I investigate. Now, I mean, what would you say your main investigation style is? We all have kind of investigation style. What would you say yours is?
I like using equipment. I don't actually record much of it, but I'm trying to be like super observant. That's like
Yeah.
my thing. I want to be there and I want to experience stuff. I don't even necessarily want to capture it on film. I'm just really observant. And I feel the energy. I can tell you what's going on around me a lot of the time. So I don't usually say that I'm a medium, but I can do that kind of stuff. I just
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of your style. More, less, less equipment, more hands-on.
yeah, but I do like equipment. I have crazy amounts of equipment, but
Mm-hmm.
I like it because it's not what everyone else has. I try to get new stuff and try new things, and
Right.
I'm always trying to expand the science of it. I'd like to get a way to record stuff to get repeatable data, so then we can actually try to prove stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because
I
once it's
agree.
repeatable data, then you can make it happen, and then you actually then can find proof. Where
Yeah.
right now we're just collecting random stuff that we don't really know what it means.
Yeah, and it's really hard to do because you can't really control the environment.
Right.
Most case studies are in controlled environments, and the paranormal is just not being studied like that.
No.
I would definitely say my style is just to be the medium. I mean, I love just going in a location blind and just being there. I love equipment though, because I love being able to validate what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. So if I feel something, I feel confident in it. But if I can feel confident in what I'm feeling and have an S box respond,
Mm-hmm.
and have an S box or something respond in front of others, then,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of makes me feel more validated. Not only do I have witnesses to what I'm doing, but we have somewhat of validation there.
Mm-hmm. Like
Um,
the portal I've been using lately. I'm getting to the point now that I can just turn it on and I don't have to like adjust any of the dials. I know where to set everything.
mm-hmm.
It's like I'm becoming in tune with it, so I know how to make it work to the
Right,
standards I want it to work at.
right. So,
And then I'm gonna have a new one built too.
yes, that's going to be awesome. And I should have one too.
You have that radio out in the garage.
I have a radio. I just got to get it sent over. All right. Well, everybody, I'm just pulling this up here real quick. So we talked a little bit about, oh, where's my thing? So we talked about paranormal hangover, paranormal burnout, and then we talked about really safety in the paranormal field. See you, Sarah. Thanks for stopping in. Um, and we talked about, your surroundings. We talked about your own health, your own well-being, being aware of yourself, how you affect others, all that stuff. I mean, because you could be in a crap mood and then tick somebody off and then really put yourself or others
Yep,
in
I've seen it
danger.
happen.
You
And I've
know?
had locations actually affect people's moods.
Well, yeah, the location, but I'm talking about like person to person.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and I are sitting across from each other, and I'm just being like a biatch, and you're just like, I'm gonna beat her, and you just jump across the Ouija board or whatever we're doing, and just fumble me. I'm just saying, like, Brad's not gonna hit me. I'd hit him back, but
She would.
ask my sister if I can fight or not. My brother will say no because my brother watched wrestling and he beat me up all the time. But my sister, she's only 2 minutes younger than me. I will whoop her.
I will have to talk to Charlotte about this.
Yeah, she will tell you. So, anyways, guys, I just wanted to kind of give you a little reminder, a little well-being, like chat about it. Be kind, be understanding. I could be kind back here. I was gonna put be understanding, but I didn't have enough letters. But just be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Prepare in advance for these investigations. Because you just don't know what you're going to come across. So, anything else you want to add to that?
The only other thing I was thinking of was go with people you actually enjoy being around. It makes all the difference in the world. The energy that you're around makes going on the investigations that much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. Even if you're somebody who, especially if you're somebody who doesn't get to go up very often, go with people you like. Go with people you get along with. Definitely, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Well, with that said, thank you, Brad, for joining me tonight. I greatly appreciate it.
No problem.
For those of you, I just want to throw this up there again. Oh, you know what? I didn't even throw my banner up. Shame on me. But if you're just going to Paraunity, a paranormal convention, Paraunity 5 is coming up right there. Point at it, Brad. Can you figure it out? Right there.
I don't know where's that. My camera's not the same.
October 21st, October 21st, 2023, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. is free. If you come and visit vendors, there is a small charge. Go ahead and go to the website or register, and that vendor information will be available to you, or send me a message, or send that Facebook page a message. As always, if you enjoy this content, please feel free to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. And we'll see y'all on the next one.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.